Hi, I'm Joe Callahan from Tech. I'm going to carry out instruction on how to use Prolec Height Safety RCI Machine Safety System. Starting from the beginning, turn on the ignition, start the machine. The system will come on. On the beginning first page we have a safety agreement. At this point the machine shouldn't lift until we agree to the safety agreement. So by pressing any button on the screen we enter the machine system. We then press any button again and it brings us to the top menu. At this position we enter into lifting mode height menus, which is indicated by a box with a triangle, which is any menu. At the bottom we have the percentage bar for the RCI. At the moment it indicates 0 because the bucket is placed on the ground. When we lift the machine we will see the percentage of the bar rises. So at the moment it's actually weighing the bucket, which is roughly 65% of the lifting capacity of the machine at the set radius. We will carry on to set height menus by pressing the limits box on the top left. We enter the height menu where we see a picture of the dipper and boom with a red broken line across the top to indicate the height. We then again press the same button, which brings us up the heights menu. The bottom button indicates where we can actually lift the boom to set a menu to the desired height. By pressing the button we now select that position, which at the moment will set the height limit to 4.63 meters. We then press the tick to select that height. It will ask you, are you sure? We then select the tick again to activate it. So now we have actually set the height to that position. So we lower the boom and we're back to a safe mode shown by the green LED on the top of the screen. When we lift the boom it will show the height limit on the bottom. So as we slowly raise the boom the indication will show close to max height. When we carry on it will actually show we have reached the height limit. At this point we cannot carry on. If we find we end up with the machine in an unstable situation, or we need to increase the height to get into a safer situation, on the right hand side if we press the center button marked with the caution triangle, if we press it we enter override mode and the alarm will sound constantly. At this point we can carry on lifting until we get into a safe situation to lower and come out of the height limit. Once we've come down clear of the height limit, the machine automatically comes out of override and returns back to the set height limit. Now we've reached the height limit again. To get out of the height limit or turn off the height limit we must lower until we have the green icon on the top of the screen. If we want to turn it off completely, we go back to the limits menu, press it again, hold for a second. The red indicator indicates the system is on, so we've set a height limit. Press and hold for a second, release, Are you sure we want to turn it off? We press the green tick. The red indication goes to black to indicate the height has been turned off. To set a fixed height, or if a supervisor wants to give you a set height to set the machine to, we should select the center menu on the heights menu. At this point it will ask you to select a height or set a height. By using the up and down arrows and the left to right arrows, we can scroll up and down and increase the distance in meters. So we will set the system to 6 meters by using the up and down and left to right arrows. When we have keyed in the desired height, we press the green tick. It will ask you, are you sure to set that height? Again, we press the green tick. The indication on the top menu goes red to show we have armed the system. When we lift and we achieve 6 meters, we have reached our desired height. On the face of the machine, it will show the arrow pointing upwards, 5.7 meters. The set height is 6 meters. If we carry through at speed, we will come to the 6 meters. To turn off, we lower back to get to the green icon, and we follow the procedure as before by pressing the limits menu. Press again, press and hold the top for a second, release. Are you sure to turn off? We press and we've turned off the system by indicating the black icon. To go back to the main screen, we always press the door with the arrow to return to any screen. So we will press and we return back to the top menu. Now the operation of the RCI, the rated capacity indicator. By pressing the hook on the right hand side in the center, we can turn off the load indicator. So cannot switch on if non-lifting mode, weight exceeds 0.10 of a ton. So we must actually place the bucket on the ground and then turn off the load indicator. At this point we now are in non-lifting mode, so we have no RCI, so we have no control over lifting. So at this point we should only be digging. By turning off into non-lifting mode, when the operator is digging, the alarm doesn't sound, with the pressure of the machine thinking it's a crane. To turn off non-lifting mode, we return to the center right hand button, press the hook, and we are back into lifting duties. At this point with the lifting duties, we now show we're lifting on the tool pin at 360 degrees. So when we lift, putting some weight on the boom, it will show our safe working load at this position at the moment is 2.38 tons, and the radius is 7.85 meters. So we can safely lift 2.3 ton. At the moment it's showing the load on hook, or what we have actually hanging from the front of the machine, at 1.59 tons, because it's actually weighing the weight of the bucket as part of the load. If we were to lift on the quick hitch, it would be much lower and we could achieve our 2.38 tons. As we move the dipper in, we will see the lifting capacity in the top right hand corner becomes greater and the radius decreases. At this point we can now lift 6.35 tons at 5.89 meters. The closer we come to the machine, the less the radius is, and of course the greater our lifting capacity. Now we're at 4.4 meters and we can lift 5.45 tons at this position, on the eye of the quick hitch of course, without the bucket. When planning a lift, before we do any lift, we can enter the lift menu by pressing the left hand center button, which introduces to the lift menu. At the moment we can see we are lifting at 360 degrees on the tool pin. By pressing the bottom left button we enter the load charts menu. If we want to plan the lift before we carry out the lift, we can actually look at our load capacities at different radiuses. By pressing the door with the green tick, we return back to the lift menu. Again, by pressing the green button with the tick, we return back to the front page. We're now going to demonstrate the RCI on the Prolec PME 200 with a live load. At the moment, with the load lifted, we have 51% of our safe working load on the load bar on the bottom end of the screen. On the end of the dipper, the indication is the load is 2.35 tons. Our safe working load at this radius is 4.65 tons and the radius is 2.8 meters. As we increase the radius, we will see our safe working load in the top right hand corner of the screen decreases to 2.66 tons. Our safe working load remains 2.45 tons, and now we have 92% safe working load on the load bar. If we carry on and increase, we now come close to our safe working load. So we see on the percentage bar we have 96% and a warning on the bottom saying close to SWL. So at this position we were saying what's on the end of the dipper is 2.4 tons, but our safe working load is 2.55. So we're very close to our safe working load. If we erratically move the machine, we will see we will bring it close to overload. So now we actually see the overload flashed. So as we retract the boom and dipper, we see we come back into safe working zone, and the percentage bar goes completely back into the green. And our safe working load on the top right hand side of the screen at this position becomes 4.39 ton or 5.48 meters, and the load remains the same at 2.36 ton on the end of the stick. Okay, so we're going to have a quick walk around of the machine to explain the components of the system. So on the side of the boom we have the boom sensor, which is placed on this side of the machine, so it's within the confines of the machine and the undercarriage for protection. We have several cables going onto it, which we should take care not to damage. We have cables from the transducers which are mounted on the pipes on the lift cylinders, one on the rod side and one on the full side. The transducers are mounted in the back. The cable should be protected, and of course the cable should never be disconnected. It will create a tamper on the machine. Coming around to the dipper. Mounted on the dipper we have the dipper sensor, which also is cabled back to the boom sensor. This cable will be one of the most vulnerable parts of the system for damage. It's cable tied to the hydraulic hoses which go back. It's intentionally mounted on the cab side of the machine, so the driver has full vision of it, and hopefully he can protect the cable from damage.